Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix Archivist, and I spent the last 13 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
And I'm Ben, and I usually knock instead of just barging in, because you never know what's going on in there, you know?
You never know if it's a room full of death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm Katie. And that's why Ben is barred from the TARDIS.
Yeah. That's... You know what? That's something, and that's why I knock now. That is 100%. That is 100% why I knock. That's not a mistake you make more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And if you couldn't tell by our very obvious, explicitly telling you that it's about barging through a door, we're talking today about Flux Part 6, The Vanquishers, but specifically the 4 seconds where the companions throw open a door and accidentally almost fall into lava.
What happens is they reach the penultimate biome in Peak. So they made it. They've made it there. They're not in the kiln yet.
No, they made it to Mount Doom.
Yeah. Which is it? Dan or Yaz who has the ring at this point? I always lose track.
No,
in those movies.
it's Dan who's got the ring. Dan
Right.
has to have the ring because he couldn't be. Well, neither Yaz or Dan could be. Out of both of them, it's unlikely that Dan would be corrupted by the ring's influence because he just want a can of soup.
That's true.
Well, I mean, there's a certain corner of the internet that believes that Dan is evil.
No, well, do you know what? Manda asked me about that because she was at Galley one. She's like, where's the evil Dan thing come from? It was that bit where you kept comparing Dan to Bradley Walsh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll tell you this. Dan Lewis is the only companion in Doctor Who history for whom the actor has had part of his life story adapted into a major motion picture.
Wait, really?
Yeah, there's a movie coming out about the start of John Bishop's stand-up career.
Wow.
I forget who directed it, but it's an Americanized, it's kind of a loose retelling. Because his stand-up career started because his divorce had been finalized.
Pompeii.
Oh, they're in Pompeii?
No,
That makes
they're
sense.
in Pompeii.
Ooh, that's an
They're
interesting...
following Mad Mole, and they run into the destruction of Pompeii.
Oh.
Is that explicitly said somewhere? Because if
no, but
so...
look at the... Okay, hold up. Okay, so here we go.
The little monument,
They're
yeah.
They're following in. Look at that, and then it's Pompeii. Look at the. So he opens the door. Those are Roman colours. Look at the architecture.
It could be.
I think there's a. It's not stated outright. So I think right now in the edit it being unknown planet. But I think that there's a version of... I think it could...
It could definitely...
It could possibly...
Those are Roman... We're crossing timelines! Do you realise, in the Flux, that means 3 doctors, not just me, 3 doctors were featured in the Flux. The 10th Doctor, the 12th Doctor, and the 13th Doctor.
Boom.
Amazing. Wait, are we saying that... Caecilius is the 12th Doctor?
Well, no, it's the remembrance of the face.
Yeah, it's not actually... Yeah, so at the very least...
save one person.
The 10th is there, the 13th is there. And also, Captain Jack Harkness is there. Because he said he regularly uses Pompeii for his the scam that he was running in The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances.
Oh my gosh.
So,
everybody's in Pompeii.
So... A night in Pompeii, and Becca, you can just cut to Jack Harkness saying, "I can't tell what I'm thinking. I can't tell y'all what I'm thinking right now."
I do sometimes think Caecilius...
Oh no! Look at this shot! Look at this shot! Okay, so, if we look at this shot, Dan was gonna fall right in.
Oh, yeah.
Dan was gonna fall right in. Yaz has grabbed him. Has grabbed him.
Oh yeah.
Jared...
Oh, I'm looking at that now. Yeah, Dan very nearly got cooked to death just then.
Yeah, Dan. Wait, let me look at the shot again. Can I play it in slow mo? Is there any way I can play it in slow mo? Playback speed. Here we go. Okay, so we've got Jericho. We've got. Wait. Okay, so there was a door. There was some sort of pot off to the side of the door. We're in my territory now, people. You're in for a ride.
Yeah.
This is great. This is exactly the kind of podcast guest we need.
So there's a pot off to the side. It looked like it could be some sort of... So he says go. Motions like go to this door. The light is coming through, suggesting kind of a... When did Vesuvius erupt?
79 AD.
What time? Have we got a time?
Time of day?
Have we got a time of day? Because this is looking... If you look at the shot, this is looking a little bit sunsetty.
Sure. Well,
if the volcano's blown, there'll be
ash everywhere,
ash in the air,
blocking out the sun.
Yeah.
So there is ash. They all run in. Oh, Dan. Yeah, Dan. Oh, they were all. Actually, it looks almost like Dan was gonna...
It doesn't... I'm looking at a Wikipedia article about the eruption of Vesuvius, and it doesn't say specifically what time of day it happened, but again, I think with the ash and everything...
Yeah,
they do run back in.
If there's lava everywhere like there is here in this clip, like, it has erupted and, like, it has already done the destruction thing.
Yeah. I'm watching this again. So they all run in. Oh, Mad Mole was about to knock Dan in, like both, and Jericho barely made it out too.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they're all...
So the Mad Mole is the golem of this scene then, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
He does bite off Dan's finger in this scene as well.
Joseph Williamson, Mad Mole of Veg Hill. Because so they're all running in one.
Yeah. Dan was like fully tipping over into the lava.
It looks like did Mole pull them back?
It's what it looks like is it looks like that shot that they always do with every Doctor and Companion where it looks like they're like floating through space.
Yes. I'm watching this again. He pulls the door out. So it doesn't make any sense.
Let's go to Katie with the slow motion replay. Katie, can you tell us exactly what happened there with the play-by-play?
Well, I'm not 100% certain because we've got Mole running in first, followed by Yaz, then Dan, then Jericho. A second later, they're all lined up, and based on how they entered the door, that shouldn't have happened. Basically, what should have happened was Mole would have run in, Yaz would have seen the lava, Yaz would have, unless Dan ran into her and pushed her forward, Dan should not have been the one headed into the lava. That should have been Mad Mole. Mole shouldn't have been in the back. All right. Why, if we're going by how they went in through the door, Mole would have gone in first. Mole would have seen the lava. Why didn't he then tell Yaz, stop, there's lava? Did Dan barge through? We also have to remember that's lava. That heat is coming up. That's hitting you full in the face.
You'd also feel it against the other side of the door when there's something hot in the other room.
But
when there's a fire in the other room.
But if it's a portal to a different dimension, does that still carry over?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say it's canon, yes, and you can cite me on the TARDIS wiki.
Great.
But it says that Mole has put maps and labels all over these doors. In the shot before, I'm playing it by slow-mo, they're escaping the Suntarans. Pick a door, Dan's like, tell us where. He goes like this. Go to this door. So he should know what door he's running to.
But also the audio in this clip is they've all changed. It's that's like,
oh yeah, the doors have been shuffled about.
The doors have been shuffled, so... But still, Mo runs in first, followed by Yaz. How did Dan jump to the front?
Oh, easy.
Dan just jumped.
It's a television show. It's edited as... I noticed this recently. I rewatched Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, and there's a shot...
Yeah, run... Okay, here's the play-by-play. So they're running about, the Suntarans are coming. Dan's screaming something, as Dan always does. He says, let's go to this door. So presumably he thinks this door is safe.
Yeah.
Opens the door, Yaz is immediately behind him. How did he get to the back?
He's a ghost. He was never alive. Boom.
He went through so many doors that he just became a ghost somehow.
So there's a shot in, I can't remember if it's Army of Ghosts or Doomsday. It is Army of Ghosts. It's after Torchwood has captured the 10th Doctor and Jackie Tyler pretending to be Rose. And there's the moment where there's a shot of Yvonne Hartman walking towards a set of doors, and then she walks with her hand out as if she's going to open it with one hand. And then the next shot is her pushing over some double doors with both of her hands. It's like, you did not have both of your hands up, Yvonne. Who handled continuity on this show? I want them drawn and quartered in that order.
What? We're talking about continuity on Doctor Who.
I know. Yeah, and they've got it all wrong because Becca's had to come in and edit the whole thing in the correct order. So.
Yeah, I mean, all this jumping around in time. What's that about?
They did not take into account that someone was going to go through and run a play-by-play on who ran through what door on Flux first.
Which is very silly because, I mean, any science fiction fan, whether it's Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever, is gonna pedant. We like a pedant.
Fair enough.
Katie, how did you feel about Flux as a whole?
With all honesty, I loved it. I think a couple of things to take into account with Flux. COVID impacted Flux so much that this episode in particular, you can tell when the crunch came in. I genuinely feel, with all that I have, that if it had been 8 episodes, it would have been perfect. But even if we had had one more episode of Flux, it was Jodie's standout season. I thought the writing was strong. I loved the Ravagers. I loved the individual episodes. I'm not crazy about Belle and Vinda trying to get back together. I mean, I'm not bashing the characters themselves. I just feel like if we had to cut down things due to COVID, I don't necessarily know if that storyline should have been in there. I don't hate it, but I would have liked to have spent more time maybe with Diane.
Oh yeah, I think we can all agree that there was not enough Diane in Flux.
Yeah.
But overall, I really loved it. I loved it. I thought it was ambitious, what they tried to do to kind of bring back that serial arc to it. I loved the storyline. I think Village of the Angels made me horrified. Village of the Angels did something that all of the 11th Doctor's run never did for me, which was make me afraid of the Weeping Angels.
Oh yeah, that episode, I think, for my money, that is the best episode of the season. Is Village of the Angels. I think it does some interesting things with the Weeping Angel, the lore and how the Weeping Angels work. It's a really tense and scary. Like, my favorite Doctor Who episodes are the ones that are tense and scary. And I think that is an episode that got my anxiety up in ways that were uncomfortable but were a fun discomfort.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was also I think it was the best use of the Angels since Blink. It was, sure. Because I've never really liked Time of the Angels and Flesh and Stone.
Well, you're wrong, but continue.
I don't know. It's fine, but it's not good because of the angels, I guess is my thought there.
I think
Like,
for my money, Time of the Angels and Flesh and Stone is the aliens to Blink's Alien. I think that
Fair enough.
they use the same ingredients to tell a very different type of story.
that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like Village of the Angels kind of recaptured the angels in a way that like really hadn't been done since Blink, and I got that like Blink, that kind of Blink storytelling sensibility from it.
I never found them, apart from kind of finding the premise and the idea of, always having to keep an eye on the statues, scary. I never found the angels terrifying the way I found the Cybermen terrifying. And that might just be something for me, because for me, the idea of losing yourself, but still having to live trapped in your own mind, I find that far more terrifying than the Daleks or the Weeping Angels. But that episode in particular for me was terrifying. And you know what? I loved the introduction of everyone in the Halloween apocalypse. I thought War of the Sontarans was a great episode. For me, I think the weakest episode was Once Upon Time. Because again, I feel that there was a lot of jumping around.
Yeah.
But I genuinely feel that the restrictions that were put in place by COVID, if you look at Vanquishers, it has similar elements in it to the reality war of something happened and we've got to do a rewrite and we've got to do a crunch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I genuinely loved it. And for me, anything with Jodie, just anything that allowed me to have more time with my doctor, I loved.
Yeah. And that's another, like, that's one of the things I absolutely adore about you, Katie. And I have talked about you on a previous episode of the podcast this way, but like the love that you have for Jodie's era of the show, which like is like, it's one of those eras that like fans love to hate on. And you have so much love and positivity for Jodie and for that era, and I really love that, because it's, I don't know, it's a good reminder that like there's a Doctor Who for everybody. There's a Doctor, or there's an episode or a season that is made for maybe just one person, and you know what? That's great.
And I think the thing, like, I've seen, if we're talking about the nitpicks and the haters, they'll nitpick something for Jodie, and then I'll see it in another episode, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's the same thing. What you're nitpicking here is what happened in a previous episode, and the Doctor did this, and you weren't mad about that.
Yeah.
But again, I do think, like you said, everyone has their Doctor, and that's the brilliant thing about this show. And there are no bad Doctors. And I have said in the past there are bad writers, and I need to take that back, because there are good parts to every episode, and there are bad parts to every episode. And there are some elements of certain episodes that work so phenomenally well. And each writer has their own strengths, and each writer has their own weaknesses. And for me, I can absolutely, there are Russell T Davies episodes that I love, and then I'm like, what happened? And then I look at another episode, I'm like, what was that? Where did that come from?
One of the things that I love, I think one of the episodes that I think is maligned by almost everyone in the Doctor Who fandom, and it's a Russell T Davies era episode, is Fear Her. I think most people will say to you, and I think there are people on the production who will agree that it's not a very good episode. But even with that in mind, it is an episode with one of my favorite quotes in it, where the Doctor's talking about, if you're traveling the universe, you don't just need warp drive and what have you. You need a hand to hold. Like, that's one of my favorite Doctor speeches ever. And it also has that fantastic moment where the TARDIS materializes with the doors opening out.
That's my favorite.
It's
That's one of my favorite moments in
so
Doctor
good.
Who.
Yeah, and it's like and one of the things that Murray Gold told me this when Murray was at Galley a few years ago. We had a wonderful conversation, and one of the things that he said was he scored every episode of Doctor Who that he worked on like he knew it was going to be somebody's favorite. And I think that's the thing about Doctor Who is like, I don't like. I loved classic Doctor Who. I don't like the John Pertwee era. I'm not a big fan of the Third Doctor, but I know that is somebody's favorite era. I as much as I love the Fifth Doctor, the writing in that era isn't quite there for me. But I know that the Fifth Doctor is somebody's favorite. And I think that there are a lot of every era has its pros and its cons, and has its detractors, but also has people who absolutely, unashamedly, unequivocally, unabashedly love that era. And I think that one of the joys of Doctor Who is because it has been so many different shows, it's never going to make everybody happy all of the time. And it warms my heart when there is an era of the show. Like, I love, even with John Pertwee, I'm not a Pertwee fan, but I love that there are people for whom that's their era. And it's the same with you and Jodie and Chris's era, Katie. I even though that era is not 100% for me, some of those episodes I love. But even though that era is not necessarily always to my tastes, I know that I don't have to love it as much. I don't have to sit here and force myself to eat the broccoli when there's someone over there scooping it into their bowl by the spoonful, and sad that they don't get any more broccoli.
Exactly. And I think the way that you have said it is absolutely perfect. Jodie and Chris and everyone who worked in that era, they have given me a second heart. I would not be doing what I am doing, and without my fiance as well, because he introduced me to Doctor Who. I have such a love for this Doctor that there are days that I hear her voice in my head saying, "You're going to get through this. It's going to be okay." And when I put this costume on, the other day, I went out and there was a gentleman who was trying to order a coffee and donut, and the payment wasn't going through. And I was in cosplay, and I said, I'll pay for you if it's not going through. And he was like, no, it's okay. And they got it all figured out, and we were talking, and I showed him the clip that Jodie did, of her COVID message
Yes.
to the world, and that what she has, what the 13th Doctor has given me is this kind of kindness and light to spread to the world, and everyone, regardless of who their Doctor is. If you're a 12th Doctor fan and you get more 12th Doctor content, that's phenomenal. That's how I feel when I get more 13. When Shooty gets more novels, and is Shooty does Big Finish, like that love, you keep your Doctor's light alive through your love of that Doctor, however that content comes through. And it's such a part of you, and to be able, like my friend Grace, her Doctor, the 11th Doctor, it's such a part of who she is. The love that we feel for this character, it pushes out all the hate. Like Capaldi. Capaldi is not it's not my favorite era. But Capaldi himself is such a phenomenal doctor that whenever somebody gets more Capaldi, it's like, yes, phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's one of my favorite things that Capaldi said when he was cast. Is he said he knew he wasn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but the beauty of Doctor Who is if you don't like the Doctor, don't worry, there'll be another one along in a minute. You know, it's the show thrives as much as fans hate it when it happens. The show thrives on change and renewal,
and it's supposed to change.
Yeah. It should not be the show, and Doctor Who in 10 years' time should be almost unrecognizable. In the same way that
it absolutely
the last,
will be. Yeah,
in the same way that the Disney Plus era is, you know, a different beast from the, you know, from Jodie's eras, a different beast from Eccleston's eras, a different beast from, you know, when Sylvester and Sophie were doing it. You know, it is a show about it's a show about change. As Capaldi said, it's a show about death. It's a show about kind of moving forward, and yeah.
And it's a show about life.
Yeah.
Like it's because Jodie's Doctor is so much about life and the lightness, and she smiled when she regenerated because the saddest thing for her was not knowing what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
But all her companions made it back alive. It's a show about life. Like, it's a show about the human life, about different we're all 11. We all change when you think about it, and that's good.
That's my favorite regeneration speech. I love that so much. It chokes me up every time.
We can honor who we've been and choose who we want to be next.
Yeah.
We change the same way the Doctor changes.
Yeah.
We regenerate. We become new versions of ourselves while carrying on the best of who we are. And maybe there are people who are listening to this who went through a very, very sad or very, hateful period of their life. And they're trying hard to come out of that. And they do, and they take from what they once were and say, okay, you know what? It's like with the War Doctor. You don't forget what you did, but you carry that with you and you say never again. I've been in a bigger war than any of you, and you know what you've done? You hold it tight and you say no one will ever have to feel this pain again. And if you thought that a scene of 4 people running into lava wouldn't lead to us talking about the legacy of Doctor Who and what it means to be alive, you were absolutely wrong.
That's Jenga, baby. Hell yeah.
I've talked about this on the podcast a little bit before, but like I do feel that Jodie Whittaker saved my life because seeing Peter Capaldi regenerate into her and then adjusting to this new person, it was very, and kind of seeing how, I don't know, how the gender thing didn't matter much to her. That was when I first really started thinking about transition and the idea that oh, maybe this is a possibility. Maybe I don't have to ascribe everything to masculinity. Maybe I don't have to do that. And here I am 7 years after Jodie's regeneration, and I'm happy, for maybe the first time. It's really, and I've talked to other, especially trans women who have had similar experiences with seeing Jodie, do that, and it's just, I don't know. It's really cool.
You became you became you.
Yeah.
You became the truest version of yourself. You became who you always were. You became you. You, in a way, it's regenerate. It's not boiling it down to regeneration. But
Right.
You became you.
Look, I would love to just, get, shot in the stomach or something by a Dalek and just regenerate into my, if it were that quick, boom, do it. Sign me up. Now I'm sort of thinking about, and we talked about that scene from Power of the Doctor where, Jodie's in her mind and talking to all the past doctors, and she's on that ledge. And I was just like, the way that you phrased that, I was also thinking like, maybe all of the, like, and this is not practical from a production standpoint, but I like to think that all of the future doctors are also in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, just waiting for their turn, basically.
It's like how in The Doctor's Wife, Idris, when she's describing the TARDIS, she has like 37 TARDIS console rooms, and the Doctor says there haven't been 37 console rooms. And if the TARDIS can have interiors that don't exist yet, there's no reason why the Doctor can't as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of love that.
Katie, remind us one more time where people can find you on the internet.
You can find me at KTGAngel44 on TikTok, and you can also find me at KTGAngel or KTGAngel, whatever you want to call me. It's all good on Instagram.
Amazing. Yes, please go check out Katie's work, because as you've learned by listening to this episode, she is just a wellspring of positivity, and it's delightful. And listeners, I hope you'll join us next time for Twice Upon a Time. Just a hint of it. Cool. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca, the Matrix Archivist. Art by Mandy Oquendo. Logo by Ben Paddon. Find us on the web at www.stitchesintie.me. Stitches in Time, but with a dot in the middle of the word time. This is like the least important thing. But
do you have stock footage of lava?
I might just do space.
Yes.
Spies.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space.
Until you send Elon Musk up there.
Well, what we do is we shoot him up there, and then we just don't. We just cut ties.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't bring him back. And I'm Katie, and I don't think the joke I can make is appropriate.
I will say this to you, Katie. This is a show where the first episode that Becca recorded with Mandy was about 4 to 6 seconds from Castrovalva, which Mandy referred to throughout as Castrovulva, and then she referred to as the castration vulva. And that kind of set the tone for the show as a whole. It did lead to them for their April Fool's Day episode watching the movie Teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
So there's no line that cannot be crossed.
True.
Fair enough.
Yes, so if you want to do an "and I'm Katie" and a terrible, horrible joke, you're welcome to.
And I'm Katie. And that's why Ben is barred from the TARDIS.
Yeah.